Welcome, welcome to Find You Fridays. How's it going? It's a big day for a lot of people here in Australia, in the Southern Hemisphere. There's a lot of interesting energies up and about at the minute, I have to say. Let's get myself a little bit more comfy. That feels better. Hope you're all doing super duper well. Hi, Melinda. Good evening. How was your Friday? I imagine you weren't working today. This is going to get heavy tea. Goodness. We've got a deep brew today, but maybe a little bit too much. What am I brewing? What am I drinking tonight? I am drinking original chai spiced black tea. So it's black tea, cardamom, clove, black pepper, and cinnamon. Hi, Eric. Hi, Edwina. I'm glad it was relaxing for you, my dear. I also had a pretty relaxing day. I was not one of those beautiful beings who got up and went and did the dawn service. I have only done that a couple of times in my life. The year that my granddad died and the year after that. And the year after that was in honor of my husband at the time's dad, who was a Vietnam veteran and was still alive at that time. Hi, Debbie. And I went in honor of him because it was likely to be the last one that he was going to attend as in part of the parade. He was actually going to do the walk. He did it both down to Port Adelaide and he also did the one in the city that year. But his knees weren't good, and, being on your feet for that long, many hours is not easy for the older guys and girls now. But yeah, so I've done it twice. Not something that I have mixed feelings about Anzac Day. For a lot of reasons, but in saying all of that, in honor of those who felt, and in my ex-husband's dad's case, so my ex-father-in-law's case, he was conscripted. So he was an Aussie soldier who had no intention of going to Vietnam. And he was quite happy just being a civilian and doing what he needed to do and making a life for himself as a young man. And next thing you know, he's getting called up and being told he has to go off and fight in a war that he really didn't want to have anything to do with. So in honor of all of those beautiful souls who just felt that they were doing the right thing at the time, for whatever reason, I have pulled my hair back and I've got my 3 candles there in red. And obviously this is the closest I have to like poppies. So my heart goes out to them if they're still alive and dealing with the consequences, or even if they're not still alive and the families are still dealing with the consequences of them having had to go to war, or whichever war. My heart goes out to those peoples. Like I said, I have very mixed feelings about Anzac Day, the military and the government. So I would rather just send love to the family. And yeah, it's a tricky one. it's a tricky one for me. For those of you who know of my pregnancy journeys, you'll understand why this day is a little bit hard for me to be like, ooh, rah, rah, let's all get together and commemorate this. It's like, I really don't. I don't wish to do that. And yeah, so anyway, on to brighter, more lovely things. I do get a sense tonight that there'll be a lot of ancestral people popping in tonight. I just get that sense that this seems to be a time, particularly now that we've got a lovely new moon tomorrow as well, or on Sunday rather, we're in new moon shadow period. So I've certainly noticed that this particular full moon's, new moon, effects are being felt by the masses. The people on the roads, particularly yesterday, were absolutely bonkers. And I was like, what the heck is going on out there? But there you go. That's shadow period for you. People going crazy on the roads and just not being calm and relaxed. They're all like, so there we go. Lovely. So yes, I do have a sense that we'll probably have some interesting energies popping through, and let's just roll with it, see where we go. I have had a couple of beautiful people already put in donations, so thank you very much to both of you. We're going to do our weekly reading as we always do first. Now let's see who wishes to come and play. Ooh, okay, that's different. So I would love to know, how do you all feel about, because everybody here at the moment that I can see are either Aussies or Kiwis. I would love to know if you're willing to share, and your point of view doesn't have to be the same as mine, and I won't judge you for it. Whatever your point of view is your point of view, but I'd love to know, how do you all feel about Anzac Day? Do you feel that it's necessary and important to come together and commemorate this day? How do you feel about it? I'd love to know in the chat, and I just, or if you just kind of go, nah, it's just another day. I don't even think about it. I just kind of avoid Facebook because everybody's rabbiting on about it. Like it's a very wide scale of, yeah, I really care about it, to no, I couldn't give a shit. So I'd love to know, where do you guys sit on the scale of I really care to I don't give a shit? Oh dear. Oh my Lord. Next week, can you even believe it? We are going into May. We are going into May. Who would have thunk it? Where the heck did April go? I actually didn't find out that my granddad used to go to the Anzac Day parades every year until he died. And when I questioned my mother about that, I was like, why did you never tell us that he was going to go? Like, I would have gone with him. And she said, oh, I didn't think you'd be interested, so I just didn't tell you. And I looked at her and I said, but Mum, my dad was in the services. My dad was in the Navy. And she's like, and? I was like, oh my God. Regardless of what had happened between myself and my dad and the family and all the stuff, like between that and my granddad being in the army, like, surely. So yeah, I had no idea. But every year he used to get up and he would go. And I had no idea. None at all. And he never made a big deal of it. Just kind of kept it to himself. Melinda, I have very mixed feelings about it. To me, these days, it's just another day. So pulling these cards for the 26th to the 2nd of May for the collective for this week to come. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, Melinda? As I'm talking about it, it feels quite heavy in my collarbone area, funnily enough. Interesting. She says, I guess it was from my family upbringing that we never really did anything as a child, so it still remains. Yeah. I'm pleased that I went to the ones that I did, particularly the first one that after my granddad had died, because he had, as you guys know, passed away at the start of the month, 21 days before Anzac Day. And it was important that I went to that one for me, but it was the hardest as well, because what happened at that one, we were down at Semaphore, and as they started to walk down and gathered at the statue, if you all know where Semaphore is, and they come down the main street there, and they had the bugle player up on the top there playing the last post, which was incredibly hard for me to listen to that year, and it's still, even just thinking about it, gets me a little bit like choked up and stuff. And then a contingent of Kiwis got up. And they did the haka. And I just stood there and I cried. So for lots of reasons, I have really mixed feelings about Anzac Day. Anyway, it is that whole thing of lest we forget. And I certainly won't forget that one. Not in a hurry. And that was 11 years ago. So, as you can see, there's still a lot of love there. So, yeah. Is there any more to come? Yes, there is one more. Rick says that he sits on the fence with it. You either do or you don't, I guess. Melinda, when I was with my ex, he always, I'm going to say, commemorated it. And I was the driver to collect the drunken mess when they were ready to come home. At the local RSL, there were a lot of anger between the different services. So it was not fun at all some years. I did attend a few dawn services with him, but it was just so cold, and, well, I will just leave it there. Yeah. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you for the love. I appreciate that a lot. A cup of tea fixes everything, right? They do say it's the coldest before dawn. And yeah, when you're down at the beach, it is fucking cold. Even for me as a little Kiwi, it's like it's so cold. Debbie said she saw more people at the beach today than I saw people commemorating. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I have, like I said, very mixed feelings about it. No, chocolate fixes everything, Debbie reckons. Well, I will admit there's been a bit of that consumed today too. All right, so let's get back on track, shall we? Right. So this week to come, from the 26th of April through to the 2nd of May, we have something slightly different that's decided to come through, and that is that we have actually been asked to have a focus color for this week, which I find very, very interesting. So we pulled this color mauve, which is about enjoying clear hearing. And I find this really fascinating because so often we get all stuck up in our heads and we forget to listen. And it's not just about listening with our taringas, our little ear holes here. We actually forget to listen with our heart. We forget to listen with our intuition. And so I'm guessing this is the color, the mauve color, this beautiful mauve, that if we focus on this today, on this week, mauve being our color, we might actually enjoy slightly easier time. I get the sense that this new moon is not going to treat us very easily this week. I get the sense it's going to be a little bit rough out there. So along with that, I mean, we've got nothing in retrograde or anything like that from what I'm aware of, although I could be wrong. There might be something going into retrograde next week. I don't know. But we have just been having a meteor shower thing happening this last week, which could also be adding to our lovely mixes of energies coming through, a little bit sort of like more spark, a bit more in the air. So for this week to come, it is encouraged that you get outdoors. Get out there, enjoy some fresh air and connect with nature to relieve stress and gain new creative ideas. All right. This is very, very important for us. I know for us in the Southern Hemisphere, which I think everybody's in the Southern Hemisphere at the moment, it is getting colder. It's not so easy to get outside. It's not so nice to get outside, but it's still only autumn. It's not dead of winter yet. We've still got plenty of time to just put an extra layer on, that sort of thing. Melinda did some gardening today and it felt fabulous. I love that. I got to and I watered my carnations and stuff yesterday, and they've all sort of perked back up again after not having proper water for nearly 2 weeks while I was away. So yeah, get out into nature, get out and just enjoy some time outdoors for a little bit, fresh air. Even just opening up your doors and windows to let the fresh air through the house will make a really big difference. Okay. We have indigo and crystal children. You have a bond with children in particular. You can help children who are sensitive. Now, I get the sense this is about your inner child stuff. Excuse me for just one moment. There we go. The cold doesn't bother you. What bullshit. Anyway. Indigo and crystal children. I get the sense that we are going to have some inner child stuff popping up this week. And this inner child work is vitally important that you work with it. And this can show up in a myriad of different ways. Hi, Tamara. This can show up in a myriad of different ways. It can show up like, I'll tell you guys a story about my back. Melinda's already a little bit aware of it, but I did some inner child work this week, and I get the sense that my story is probably going to be helpful to you guys, because it's like you might be able to take some inspiration from it and be able to do some inner child work for yourself. It's not hard to do, but you do have to trust the process. So there might be some inner child stuff that's going to come up this week for you guys. And if you manage to get outdoors, it will probably help somewhat to have that fresh air, to be able to connect in with nature, to do that sort of stuff. It'll help soothe the waters. I've got a really interesting mix of cards this week. We got creative writing. So don't be surprised if you feel inspired. Creative writing isn't necessarily about sitting down and writing a book. It's not necessarily about intuitive writing. It might be. It could just be this is about being creative. Don't be surprised if you start feeling a little bit more energized getting creative. And part of it will be these two. These two is going to help you be creative. It's going to help unblock some stuff that's preventing you from being creative. So if we also employ our color of the week, which is mauve, which is about enjoying clear hearing, don't be surprised if you feel more creative. Please lean into it. Don't just brush it off to the side and just say, oh, I'll do it later. I'm the queen of doing that, by the way. And this week I've just gone, no, I'm just going to start doing stuff. And I bought some paint markers. I've never bought paint markers before in my life. I've had all sorts of other things like felt tips and pens and all sorts of things, but in pencils. I've never had paint markers. Next thing you know, I'm just doodling. I'm just using my paint markers. And that then led me on to doing some stuff with card making and just being really quite creative around the house. And I've loved it. I've enjoyed it. I felt way more inspired to do more. So don't be surprised if some creativity starts flowing through your blood this week. Now this card here, it's the last card for the week, apart from our yummy card. And for those of us who are healers, this is sometimes a hard card for us because it means that we're going to have to step up our game just a touch and be more aware of we're being called to action. Okay? We got the counselor card. So this is kind of like us healers' little knock, knock, knock on the door, the little ringing of the bell to say, yes, you are going to be asked a little bit more, to be listening a little bit more to other people's stuff. Okay? And so put your counselor hat on and be in that space of neutrality. Let people get their words out. Just be there to support them, even if it's just as a listening ear. But this is what's going to come up for us beautiful healers this week is the counselor card. Okay? Don't be surprised if you get some random calls from friends going, oh, I don't know what to do with my life. Okay, let me grab a cup of tea. Lorene said this might happen. Hi, Kira. Let's have a look at our yummy card. This week we got soften. All right. So that's not surprising to me at all that soften has come up in amongst all of this. Because so often we can kind of go, I don't want to listen to anybody else's shit today. I've had enough. I've peopled enough. That's it. Boom. Doors shut. Soften. And soften with yourself too. Okay? So I get the sense it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy week. But just be kind, be an allowance of others, and just soften your approach, soften your voice. If you feel yourself starting to get a little bit tetchy and stuff, just breathe. Come back to that lovely mauve color. Imagine that you are surrounded by the color mauve, and just go and hear what's beyond all the bullshit, because it'll show and you'll be able to see it and hear it, and you'll be like, okay, cool. All right. So I'll tell you a quick story and then we'll get into our readings, because like I said, we've had a couple of people already pop up and pay, and I'm so grateful for you and your donations. How did I get so lucky? So at the moment we've got Edwina, then Melinda, and then Tamara. So thank you to all of you. Okay. Cool. What the heck? Oh. It's not even Saturday. That must have been Saturday last week. That's weird. Oh, yeah, the show was on Saturday last week. Oh, that's funny. I forgot. Anyway, so those of you following me on Facebook will know that I have had an additional week off work. And that was because we're an additional 3 days. And that was because I woke up on Monday and I could barely get out of bed. My back had gone boing. And I was like, what the bloody hell? I was absolutely fine on Sunday. There was nothing to indicate I hadn't done anything heavy lifting. I hadn't done anything particularly weird. I did do a little bit of digging in the garden, but it wasn't like, it wasn't anything strenuous, because I'd already done that 3 weeks beforehand. I'd done the strenuous stuff. So I could not figure out why on earth my back had all of a sudden decided that it needed to be seen and heard. And so I just sort of tottered around and did what I needed to do to set up for work for the next day, thinking, maybe it'll just right itself over the day. I woke up on Tuesday morning and I could move even less than I could on Monday. So I had to message work and say, look, I can't. I can't go to work. I'm sorry. There's no way I can even operate a vacuum cleaner. I can barely hold my cup of coffee. So went off to the physio. And so I'm going to get all very normal for a sec here. Went off to the physio. Physio had a look, had a poke around, realized I could, I could barely even slouch because it was all in that sort of L5 sacral area. And because I was like back rigid. It was just the easiest way for me to sit. And he was like, can you slouch? And I was like, no. And he goes, go on, just give it a little try. And I'm like, I went like probably about 2 centimeters. And I'm just like, no, come on. And he goes, come on, just a little bit more. And I'm just like, no. So that was interesting. So for this week, I have had a TENS machine twice. I've had dry needling a couple of times. I have had hand massage. I have had like the ball massage one. And I also had cupping done this week. So my second session was on Thursday, not today, but Thursday. So I had one session Tuesday, one session Thursday. On Wednesday, I realized when the injury would have come. And what's happened is there's a disc, and the disc has little micro tears on the very edge of it. And those micro tears are going up through the puffy layer. And there's nerves that run up along here. So you've got the disc, and then there's this layer, and then there's the nerves that run here. And because there's these little micro tears that are happening here, it's inflaming the nerve here. And that's happening on a couple of different spots. And I realized that the injury happened back when I was moving house, back at the start of February. And as many of you know, because I have spoken about it a few times, there was my cortisol levels were incredibly high at that time. And funnily enough, they actually give you cortisol for pain treatment. They put it into your arm in a needle. I didn't need that because my body was producing way too much of it. So I was actually acting as my own painkiller. Fabulous, right? So on the Wednesday, I had a look at my Inner Segal book, this beautiful, amazing book here, which has an incredible section on the spine. It even comes with a pretty little picture so you can identify yourself where on earth things are going weird. And mine was right in here, just this little spot here. So I investigated and I had a look and see what it said, and everything was spot on. And I was like, righty-ho. So I did the process. And then as I was doing this process where you're flooding the back and the entire spine with green light, which of course we know is heart, I then saw a little wee version of myself, my inner child, standing in that little spot of my back. And she was dressed all in black. She looked like a very not to be messed with biker chick. She had like spikes sticking out of all of her clothing, and she was very angry. And where the micro tears were, it was like she had just gone and thrown all of her toys out of the cot or the playpen or whatever. And I just said to her, so what's going on here? And she goes, I've just thrown all my toys away. And I said, for what reason did you do that? And she said, because I'm angry. And I said, okay, so for what reason are you angry? And she said, because I'm so angry because we've had yet another relationship that hasn't worked out. Bearing in mind, she's been in there for a little while. And good morning, Paul. Good morning, Debbie. And so this is basically often what happens when I do inner child work. It's because something crops up. I go to do the healing on the body, and my inner child is actually the one that's sitting in there holding court, so to speak. So we ended up having a big conversation about relationships, and I put it into an analogy of things that she could relate to. So I said to her, do you remember when we were little and we went down to the river and we wanted to cross the river? And there was some spots there which were a bit more shallow so that we could walk across the rocks to get to the other side. Or like when we went to Katajuda and we had to walk really carefully in some spots because some of the rocks were a little bit unstable. And so she's like, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I said, what if those rocks were like our relationships? Some of them were a little bit more stable than others, but we had to walk across those relationships. We had to move through that period of time to be able to get to the other side, to be able to get to our long-term love. And she's like, oh, yeah, that works. So why would I could just see that moment on her face where she's like processing it. And it's just like, okay. So what if every single thing, because I said to her, what if, and I said to her, have we learned from every single one of those relationships? And she's like, yeah, we've learned a lot. And I said, exactly. And the things that we've learned, are we going to repeat the mistakes? She goes, oh no, they didn't feel good at all. And I was like, exactly. A bit like when you slip off a rock and it hurts your ankle, it doesn't feel good, does it? It's like, no. So let's use that same analogy. What if, it was those relationships were the reasons and the seasons, and now we're moving towards our lifetime love? She's like, oh yeah, I like that. And instantly her clothing changed from that hardcore spiky biker chick to this really pretty white with small flowers on it summer dress. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's a really pretty dress that you've got there. And so I said to her, do you think now we can actually work on healing, these micro tears and just calming down those nerves? And she's like, oh yeah, of course. So together we did that. And I just set her the task of continuing to work on the spine and on those micro tears and the nerves until it was finished. And that happened in the morning. That afternoon, I was feeling really amazing. I did have a bath with a really heavy dose of Epsom salts. And the next morning, I was feeling so much better. Even that afternoon, I was feeling really, really good. I was able to get up on a ladder with no issues. There was no twinges in my back. I was able to lift up my arms, no problems. I was able to laugh. There was no twinges when I laughed. I could breathe deeply. And going to bed was okay, but I did make sure that for last night's bedtime, I wore satin pajamas rather than flannelette, because the flannelette was a little bit grippy on my sheets. But yeah, even yesterday, the physio was absolutely amazed because I was able to bend down, touch my toes, paint my toenails yesterday, paint my fingernails, but paint my toenails. I was just really, really flexible again. And he's like, you've responded really well to this treatment. I'm like, yeah, I have, haven't I? So what I realized throughout all of that is that there was a couple of moments when I was moving where I definitely twinged my back. But the amount of cortisol running through my system from my past relationships failing, from having to move, doing it all on my own, and the anger that came with, and just feeling really, really disappointed and not rejected as such, but it was like just incredibly disappointed and undervalued. And there was all of the stuff, like if I was to read out what was in that inner Seagull section around those 2 points, you would see that what was going on for me was 100% spot on. And what my amazing body did is it wrapped up that area, the L5 and my sacral, with a lot of padding and a lot of protection until I was ready and able to deal with it. But what had to happen first is I had to relax, and my cortisol had to come down, which had been coming down steadily since moving in. But my 10 days in Uluru really brought all of that stress down. Because for the first time in my life, I feel loved, I feel supported, I feel honored. And there is something pretty damn special about the place as well as the person that I was with. And I feel very fortunate to have found someone who is willing to be with me and allow me to be me and isn't intimidated by me being all of me. In fact, they find it kind of inspiring. Who knew? So I feel very, very lucky. And so, of course, I've come home and that unwinding process continued. And that's why it cropped up on the Monday, because my body was finally at the point where it was like, I've relaxed enough now, we can look at this. Unfortunately, I had a heap of sick leave sitting there. It wasn't actually a big deal for my work. So I took the time. I've taken the time to heal my body, to make sure we're all good. And I'll be heading back to work on Monday. So if you find yourself with any funny, weird little niggles or anything coming up this week please listen and ask those questions. Have a look. If you've got Ina Segal's book, I'll bring it out again. If you've got The Secret Language of Your Body book, have a look. See what's in there. Yes, you can use Louise Hay as well. You can heal your life. I prefer Ina's work. Some people prefer Louise Hay. I don't really care which way you go. Just please listen to your body. Please listen to your body. Don't put it off as long as I did. I learned from my faux pas. And saying that, I've absolutely loved having an extra few days off work just to be chill and quiet and just do the little things around the house that I've been kind of putting off and having some creative time for me too. Anyway, so there we go. Inner child work, it can be as simple and easy as that. It doesn't have to be long and convoluted. You don't actually have to have a facilitator to do it. What you do have to do is trust in the process and trust that you know how to speak with yourself. And it's that speaking with yourself with love and compassion and empathy and question, which will help. Because how would you talk to in this case, she felt about 7 years old. How would you talk to a really, really angry 7-year-old as an empowered, conscious adult? You wouldn't just yell at them, tell them to stop being so stupid, would you? You'd ask them what's going on. And that's what you do. Okay? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Edwina, my love, could you please put your question in the chat, please, darling? Now, Paul, I see you've popped in, and I love that. Good morning from Pennsylvania. Thank you. This is over here in Australia and New Zealand. It is Anzac Day today. And Anzac Day is the Australian New Zealand Army Corps. And it is a commemoration of all armed forces of both countries coming together, but particularly was created from the point of Gallipoli. So it's, yeah. I just felt it was important to honor the people who felt that they were doing the right thing at the time. Even if from our perspective, we're like, but also the families that have been impacted because of those decisions. Okay. So let's see. You're thinking of writing a children's book. I think it would be a hit or not. I can take it out loud. Look, at the end of the day, you can only give it a go. That's what I would say is like, just do the process, go through and do it. I had no idea about my book. Funnily enough, another one of my poems that I wrote a little while ago bubbled up through my memories, and I've printed it off and put it with the rest of them, which are all just slowly mundling back together for book 2. Funny that. All right, Edwina. Who wishes to come and play with Edwina? Cool. What would your book, oh, actually, no, don't tell me what your book would be about. You know, intellectual property and all of that. I have a short story that I have sort of written, which with these days with AI, I could probably illustrate it, not a problem. But yeah, it's actually the story of how we choose our parents. It's interesting. Yeah. Interesting times that we live in, that's for sure. Okie dokie. All right. So even though, Edwina, you have asked me to let you know what the spirit guides would like you to know, I actually get a sense that you have a question that's in your mind that you're not willing to put online, which is absolutely fine. Interesting, Tamara. I will come back to that question in a moment. So the answer to your question is within these cards. And it's funny because the very last card that you've got here is the definitive answer that you're after. So we'll move towards that one, and we'll see where we're going with it. I am going to read a little bit from the book, but also not. So we'll do a bit of both, okay? So your first card that you've come up, so this is from the Mystical Healing ones from Ina Segal. Anybody would think I love Ina Segal. I do. It's just so happened that I've actually got, not right here, it's in the other room. I actually have a book of hers that she wrote with her partner at the time. Something about angels. I can't remember exactly what it was, but very beautiful story. I have, 3 of her decks now? Yes, 3. Yes, 3 of her decks. I've got her book, not only the orange one that I showed you, but the first edition of that one. It's like, I think I love Ina's work. All right. So the first card that we've got is to relieve anxiety. So it says slow down and connect to your inner self. Okay. Your body is showing you that something is out of alignment. You have pushed down numerous traumatic experiences, and your inner being is overwhelmed by too many charged and conflicting energies. If you continue pushing, forcing, and ignoring all the signs, you'll be heading for an internal breakdown. Your inner wisdom is eager to come out and show you a different way of living your life. You need to find a way to slow down, go into nature, and truly listen to your body. Ask such questions as, what feelings am I suppressing? What aspects of my life is this anxiety trying to illuminate? What inner and outer changes do I require to make? This can include food, alcohol, lifestyle, work, relationships, as well as going within and becoming aware of how you actually process life. So, when we do things like I was just saying about my back stuff, right? At the time, I didn't have the time and space to be able to process the twinges in my back as I was moving house. There was 2 times specifically, I remember. And I was just like, nope, cannot do it right now. And I get it. I get it when you're super busy and you're like, I know you're a mom of many children and you're a wife and you're working and you've got a household to run and there's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. When stuff comes up in your own body or traumatic stuff from earlier years comes up, you just don't have the time and space. You think you don't have the time and space to deal with it. And as a result, what will happen is it'll push down into those parts of our body because our body is a beautiful filing system, and it'll put certain emotions or circumstances, experiences into certain parts of the body. And when you're ready to deal with it, it'll hold it. It'll hold it there. And see you, Paul. I'm glad you love your life. I hope that we do get to hear about your book. That would be really cool. So when we do that, though, if we don't come back to it quickly enough, it'll do things like what's happened with my body, right? And I've had that happen. And now I have to deal with that. That's how we get things like coughs and colds and flus and soreness and funky eyes and all that sort of stuff. It's all unprocessed trauma, heartache, emotions, things from our childhood that we haven't dealt with yet, but it's coming up. It's brewed big time. Okay, so, and anxiety is a big one. Anxiety definitely is something that will sit there and it will brew and it'll be something small and you won't really notice it, and then it'll start getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay? Until it becomes very, very overwhelming. And it's kind of like, best analogy I can have is somebody who's a hoarder and they love to collect stuff, but they collect so much stuff that it becomes incredibly overwhelming for them. And sometimes that stuff is a collection of rubbish. Sometimes that stuff is a collection of rodents and their feces. Sometimes it's a collection of empty bottles and empty packets, which is rubbish. Sometimes it's collections of valuable things too. But it's collections of stuff. And that's what our bodies do. We collect stuff in our bodies, our emotions. We don't deal with it, it starts bubbling out of us. And aches and pains, headaches, anxiety, depression. These are all signs of hoarded emotions. Okay? So, you got some work to do, love. The next card that you've got so that's kind of like your team is sort of calling out you on your shit. It's like, thanks. You've had the housing inspector in, and they're like going, yeah, nah, you've got too much shit. You got to get rid of some stuff. And to do that, you're going to have to step into the unknown. All right. So it'll feel very, very strange. It'll feel weird because, of course, we love our stuff. We love the things that we've kept around us to keep us safe. You know, I love the fact that my back wasn't hurting. But what I didn't realize is that I had hoarded a whole bunch of emotions sitting back there, which actually had nothing really to do with the house move at all. But it was like, oh, I could logically trace it back to that. Okay. So it's time for you to trust your inner calling. This could relate to starting a new business, starting a family, or doing a course of study, which I feel is a little bit more relevant, that you have been putting off for years. So it's a course of study or something that has really been tugging at you a lot. And I get this is actually more to do with a subject of study that is like calls to your heart. And to do that course of study, you're going to have to really trust that this is going to be something that's going to enhance your life. And you're going to have to be a little bit bolshy about it, of like, no, this is absolutely something I wish to do. And you're going to have to be really determined, because it's with that determination that you're going to find the time. You're going to not only find it, but make the time to see it through. Okay. So stepping into the unknown. Also with that, you have to be flexible about doing new things in a new way with an open mind, whilst discerning is necessary. Look for the signs that show you that you are on the right track. Trust that you're being guided. Okay. So what I get with that one is that there's an area of study, it's a course or something that has been calling to you for quite a while, and you've kind of pushed it off to the side. Oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have time. And it's like, no, now is the time. Okay. Let's jump to the next one. Okay, we got 14, which is about focus on higher truths. Decipher between what is temporary and what is eternal. Whilst your truth constantly changes as you learn new things, it's important to develop a student-like mind and to spend some of your day reaching for a higher truth. Thus, building your soul strength and cleansing your spirit will not only serve you in this lifetime, but also future incarnations. So again, we're coming back to this card. It's like this one is kind of a mixture of the first two cards together, right? So it's saying, hey, you got to get rid of some old points of view, some old belief systems about why you can and can't do things. And now we've got to come back to that more neuroplastic side of your brain where it's like, oh, now I've got space where I can bring in some new stuff. Okay. Oh, Paul. Sorry, I just caught that. He's apparently it's about a mouse. I've had far too many mice in my life this week. Focus on the inner higher truths. Okay, so it's about coming back to your heart rather than your past experiences of your mind, and listen to what is actually true for you and be the student of your life once more. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So just come back to that. And in case you really, really, really needed to hear it again, We got listen to your intuition. Your intuition is constantly sending you messages. You are being asked to become aware of what your inner wisdom is trying to tell you about your health and your intimate as well as work-related relationships. There are particular aspects of your relationships that require attention and a new approach. There are certain people and experiences that you have outgrown. Change is coming and you will need to make healthier choices. If you open the door to possibility, new people will appear in your life and they will be able to offer you a different perspective on how to live, love, and work. Your body is also trying to give you a message about your health. There are signs and symbols all around you. It's your job to learn how to decipher them. When you awaken your heart chakra correctly, your intuition can flourish and you will know the difference between an illusion and a real spiritual perception. All right. So there we go. Listen to your intuition. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. Now I'm very curious because this next card, or last card as such, apart from our yummy card, is, like I said, it's the definitive answer of whether you should continue in your status quo. It's like there's a big choice that you have to make, and your body is already telling you lots of messages. Your team has already been sending you lots of messages. And this is the next one. This particular card here is not about your choices to move into that course of study. It's nothing to do with that. This is about whether you should stay in your current situation. The question that you have specifically about that. Okay? It says it's a no. So let's read. It's a no. It's time to stop pushing and forcing things to happen. Whatever you're trying to create right now, the timing is off. If you are constantly hitting roadblocks, it's because you either are focusing on the wrong thing or the person you are trying to create a business or relationship with is either not ready or unsuitable for you at this point. Okay? I actually don't get a sense that I even need to carry on. That is the big answer to that question that you have. Okay, you know what that's relevant for. I'm not going to talk anything more about it because you know. All right. But what I will tell you is the action that's at the bottom. It says, write down any people, situation, or things that do cause destruction in your life. Number them from the most draining to the least harmful, and imagine saying no with a smile. This could be a no to eating unhealthy, sugary food or demanding family members. Also, take the time to meditate on what is important to let go in your life and what you could be focusing on. Okie dokie. Some very valuable information there for you, my love. I have to say, the other decks that I have of Ina's work, you know, maybe I have 3 or 4. 3. Yeah, it's still only 3. 4. I have 4 of hers. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2 more over there. I have found the others, like the color cards and stuff, are very gentle, but when you start getting into the healing ones and the heal yourself and stuff like that, they're a little bit more in your face. And I find it interesting when the teams choose them, because it's like they're just really trying to get the message. The yummy card that you have is humor. So please remember to keep the humor going in your life. Find those funny moments, even if they're completely ridiculous. Keep trying to smile, because humor will always help energy move along. What I often do if I'm feeling incredibly down, anxious, too serious, is I will try and find something that's funny. And quite often what happens, it'll be like a dark humor type thing, which you wouldn't necessarily think was particularly funny. And it's like, next thing you know, I'm having a bit of a giggle, and it's like, okay, the energy is starting to shift now. Comedy movies can really help with that. Silly cat videos or whatever floats your boat for humor. If you're, a little bit more, it just depends. Just depends on what your funny bone is made of as to what will help. So thank you, Edwina. I hope that helps give you some answers and direction for where you're attempting or you're heading at the moment. It sounds like there's a lot going on in your world and a lot of questioning happening in your space. And definitely that whatever that course of study is that you've been looking at for a while, it's a big fat yes for that, regardless of anything else. Even if you don't choose to move on anything else, that particular course of study is going to really, really help you, whatever that is. So highly encourage it. So thank you so much for your very kind donation. I'm so grateful to you, and you literally keep the show running. So I'm incredibly grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Melinda, my sweet, could you please pop your question in the chat? And that would be amazing. Just pour a little more tea in my cup. I've had this teapot and set for quite a while, actually. I really like it. The cup sits under here as the tea's brewing. And I got it many years ago as either a birthday or a Christmas gift. I can't remember which one. They loved it because they knew how much I loved the colour purple. And there's a few different shades of purple in it. So, yeah, very pretty, a very thoughtful gift. And they also knew how much I like tea, so that's always good. Thank you, Edwina, for trusting me with your reading. I appreciate it, and I feel very honoured. So yeah, you see the cup has the similar pattern on it. It's very cool. Very cool. I like that cup because it's smooth. I have another cup, a teapot and cup set, which is like a turquoise green. And while very pretty, it's got like a embossed pattern on it. And it's like, I find it funny on my mouth. I've probably got a little bit of ADHD in there or something. I do joke around that I've got just enough OCD to keep my ADHD in check. Oh dear. So there are certain things like when I was living at the previous house, there was a particular teaspoon I could not stand touching. I was like, oh, get that spoon away from me. And I don't know really what it was about it. It's like I've got long, like spoons, teaspoons that you'd use for dessert and stuff. They're my preferred teaspoons to use. And I don't know, it's a fancy thing. I don't know. And I think it was because the spoon was really square, like really, really rigidly, whereas my spoons tend to have quite a nice smooth feel to them, and I'm just like, I just can't. It's like every time I came across it was like tucked it right down to the bottom of the spoon rack. Hi, Catherine. Oh, that's okay, darling. We're only 1 hour, 11 minutes and 11 seconds in. I just saw that. And there was 10 people watching and 1 reaction. I had all the ones. How cool is that? Okay, Melinda's question. Questions for Melinda. Melinda's team. What would you like me to use? Oh gosh, we haven't used this pack for a long time. Cool. I do love it when they go and choose something different. Yeah, I don't get the whole reason why people like using short teaspoons. They're a pain. I'm glad, Melinda, you have the same thing as me. It's like I don't even own, I don't think, do I? Oh, yeah, no, I do own short ones. I just never use them. I have a full range of long-handled teaspoons. Oh, Catherine has long-handled teaspoons too. And I prefer to eat desserts with them. I don't like eating my desserts like yogurts or anything like that with a big spoon. It's like, no, I want with my long-handled teaspoon. It's like people go and give me like a regular dessert spoon for eating dessert. I'm like, do you have a teaspoon? It really irks me when you go to a restaurant or something and they go and give you a big spoon to eat your dessert with. It's like, no, I want a teaspoon. I wish to savor my dessert. Thank you very much. Okay, just giving Melinda's team a good chance to step in. And isn't it funny how we can be just so quirky with silly little things like teaspoons? The other one that used to come up in my household a lot is just over the years, when I think about it, back to my first husband actually, was toilet paper, and how it was mandatory. It was pretty much legal law in our house that you had to have decent toilet paper. Like, it was 3-ply or nothing. We never had nothing ever. And it had to be like the right amount of firmness, but still softness, so that you didn't get, breakthrough. And it's so funny how people get very fixated on a certain brand of loo paper. And I've had this across so many different relationships. It's like, okay, so you prefer that kind of toilet paper. Interesting, okay. And I actually really liked the Who Gives a Crap bamboo paper. I had a few deliveries of that before I moved to Mount Barker. Really loved it. It was good paper. Soft, but it was still strong, and just did the things in the right ways. And unfortunately, I can't really get it here because of, I don't know that they would deliver to a PO box. Haven't investigated. Perhaps I should. Yeah, the deluxe bamboo one. Oh, it's a game changer, isn't it? I absolutely loved it, Melinda. Yeah. I think I tried the one that wasn't bamboo, but it was at somebody else's house. And I went, yeah, it's okay. It's all right. But I really like the deluxe bamboo one from Who Gives a Crap. So I don't know if that's the one that you can get sometimes at Aldi. I know they do stock some of the Who Gives a Crap, but I haven't looked closely at it. So maybe I should. Anyway, Melinda, let us have a look and see what beautiful cards you have chosen. I really, really love these cards, and it's been such a long time since we've been able to play with them. So thank you. Beautiful. LD Sell It. Fantastic, Catherine and Melinda. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the cards that we got is The Language of Flowers. And this is by Sherilyn Darcy. She is, if I remember correctly, she's an Aussie. And she is from New South Wales, if I remember correctly. Maybe it's at the back, perhaps. Yep. Yes, New South Wales, central coast of New South Wales. She nurtures her own extensive flower, vegetable, native plant, and indoor gardens that have been featured in national publications and are her creative sanctuary. She also hosts regular gardening radio show, and is the administrator of a local community garden and a sought-after plant expert, often featured on national television and international radio. I don't know if you'll be able to see, it's quite a dark image, but this is Sherilyn. Doesn't she just look like a beautiful garden fairy? I love it. She's just gorgeous. So yes, beautiful garden witch. So the first card that we've got is Dedication, which is Edelweiss. And the meanings is that there is an opportunity to work with more focus and dedication on projects associated with your life purpose and things you're really passionate about in general. It's time also to learn from past mistakes. Something you may have been working on for a long time or have been wanting to begin could gain a boost or a sudden new interest or facet to it. Educational and learning experiences are worthwhile looking into at present, as new directions and brighter new horizons are on offer if the groundwork is undertaken properly. The challenges that you may have around this is recklessness and impulsiveness need to be tempered, and there is a risk of laziness or giving up or failing due to not wanting to spend the required time to master new skills. Ignoring tradition in favor of fads and quick results will prove detrimental, and you need to ensure you speak up and not avoid any confrontations. So you got to have your own back, and that includes those moments of confrontation, but it's also about having your own back for the things that you are focusing on the most at the moment. You have already mentioned about, doing some more gardening. You mentioned about decluttering and reorganizing stuff at home. These are the projects that we're talking about here. It's like, keep going, right? You've already made a really great start. Keep going. Don't let the weather or other issues that are possibly popping up in the world. Oh, sorry, I just saw your last card. create issues in your world that's going to, put little stumbling blocks in your way. Don't let it happen. All right? Just keep focused. 2, 4, 3, 44. I just want to... Anyway, if anybody wants to start a podcast, apparently I now have a referral link, just randomly. So if you do want a referral link, which will give you some money off, some credit to get started, and me, help me out too, let me know. I'll give you the link. Weird and random shit. Anyway, back to Melinda. Wisdom is your next card, which is the Magnolia. Okay. How beautiful is that? I love the rolling hills in the background on this one too. So this is the completion of something is near. And you could now look into beginning a new chapter in an old story or project. How interesting. Survival, even if the odds seem stacked against a positive outcome, is indicated and is enduring love, divine wisdom, understanding, and growth. There could be a connection with an older person, the middle time of life, or changing family energies through natural progression. The message is often keep going. The challenges. There may be an inability to change due to a lack of energy or the longing for a past experience that can no longer be part of the future. Be wary of creating or standing upon weak foundations, ignoring traditional law, or failing to take heed of experience. Ensure adequate research is undertaken before making decisions or plans. So what I'm getting from this particular card for you is the most important thing there is that you are actually really close to completing your projects. And it's that moment, especially with this card here coming up first, where they're saying, look, you're getting really bloody close. Don't give up now. Keep going. Because this that you've been creating and working through is creating so much space for you to be able to bring in this new, beautiful, amazing energy that you've been asking for. And the other interesting thing is that stood out for me in that particular reading was the stuff around the family dynamics. I get the sense that there's a lot more peacefulness for you around that family stuff, and things are moving in a direction where you're not feeling encumbered by that so much anymore. And it's not that anybody's passed away or anything like that. It's just that your attachment to that old family stuff is like dropping away as you're continuing to move forward with your life and sorting your shit out. Like that stuff is no longer becoming so important to you to hold on to, which is really cool. Now, you're going to love this because the next card, you might even giggle a little bit because I know I just did. It's lavender and cleansing. An indication that all is well or heading that way. So you should be able to see an improvement soon if you are seeking it. This is also a time of relaxation, blessed solitude and purification. So take the opportunity to cleanse away what you no longer need or want. Devotion, serenity, grace, and trust are all also associated with lavender. So you will find you may need to focus on emotional equilibrium and spiritual sensitivity. The challenges are not protecting yourself and being too open and even gullible at times. Falling for the same issue again by not learning from the past are common themes with this plant, as well as the exhaustion of physical and mental energy. avoid negative self-talk or taking things too seriously. So I know that you love the color lavender. So I get the sense that this is definitely a time in your life where this cleansing that is happening is on multiple layers. It is happening physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And how wonderful is that? So keep bringing in this lavender color, and remember that it's to do with the old lavenders and it's to do with cleansing. And it's like, oh yeah, how interesting. Lavender and mauve are very, very close colors. Love it that you put lavender essential oil on your pillow at night. Yes, that's definitely a way to keep bringing it in. Keep wrapping yourself up with it. I just love that the cleansing card came up. That's so funny. Alrighty. The next card that we have for you, my dear, is Trust, which is the wild rose. So the meaning of this one is be especially true with your word and actions at this time, which was interesting because that last card, the lavender card, was also talking about negative self-talk and also just negative talk in general. So interesting that this card is coming out talking about the same thing. Be especially true with your word and actions at this time. You need to remain open-hearted and present. The requirement to remain open-hearted and at present is important. And you may find yourself sharing skills, knowledge, and passions. Protection from those who mean harm is on offer, along with illuminations to inner meanings and wisdom. Education and learning opportunities are indicated, as are the practice and mastery of skills. Accomplishments attained and promises, contracts, and bonds surrounded. Your challenges include or may include betrayal, loss of trust, broken promises, and even a loss of interest in life and activities, losing hope and feeling hopeless about a situation, as faith could be harshly challenged and even lost. Now is the time to temper impulsive thoughts and actions and find ways to hold on to what you value while clearing away negativity. So in situations that might be around you at the moment, I get that that's what this is talking about, where it may not be necessarily like that challenges section may not necessarily be in direct relation to you, but you feel a part of the story. So just be aware and keep yourself in an observational point of view rather than an active player. And that will be much easier for you to navigate that section. And the requirement to remain open-hearted at present is very important. And I also get that this is about you having a look at your own inner child stuff too. There's going to be some of that still being stirred up at the moment. And yeah. Yup. Wild rose. The last card, besides your yummy card, now you know why I went, oh. Funny, I didn't see any of these flowers out there, but they may be. Honey grevillea, the time of harvest, so it's creation, all right? A time of harvest and enjoying the rewards from the things you have been creating. But you may also find an idea, project, or a new way of thinking opens up for you. Creativity and productive work surrounding creative projects is also shown. Energies are strengthening that are connected with passion and the opening to love, which results in a deepening of unions. Fertility, parenting, and family relationships are all a part of the history of the story of honey grevillea as well. So you may see new commitments and additions to families. The challenges are: you may find that challenges include creative writing blocks as well as a lack of imagination or willingness to think outside the box. Suppression of ideas and or a misunderstanding of the foundations behind them will lead to rather destructive energies and can be traced back to impatience and irrational expectations. Be very, very mindful of your expectations. And I get the sense that this is what you're working towards at the minute, this level of being free to create. And like I said, all the work that you've been doing is working towards this, working towards that ability to have the freedom to welcome in and create that loving relationship. If you wish to create that, it's about creating that beautiful space for you to live in. It's about creating a more calmer state of your body and mind to be able to live with every single day, live in every single day. I am, for those of you who didn't spot it, this is Uluru in the background here. I just love it. Just love it how it's still managing to wingle its way in. These cards are just glorious, and I love how she's just worked so many different elements into these cards. And, you know, that you can see they've been hand created. I don't know how she's done it because it's really interesting. I'd love to see the originals. You got soften as well. So don't be rigid. Whatever is going on in your world right now, and whether that be yourself or with other people, just keep things soft. Keep your voice soft, keep your mind soft, keep your heart soft. And by soften, I mean it's approaching things with empathy. I don't know that empathy is in there, but I get the sense that that's sort of what they're meaning in that. So just keep going. That's the biggest message from all of this, is keep going and trust that the big, beautiful things that you've been working towards are coming. They are absolutely coming for you. And as you continue to release and create space in your heart and your living space and everything like that, oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Thank you so, so much for your beautiful, kind donation. And I'm so incredibly grateful to have you here, Melinda, and for being, you know, one of the original members of Find You Fridays crew. I am so, so grateful for you. And I hope that your reading continues to contribute in some way, shape, or form to your week ahead. Tamara, my dear, my sweet, could you please put your question in the chat now? Who's going to come and play with Tamara? Oh, that last cover. Whew. I forgot that particular tea is very strong. It's certainly going to keep me awake for the rest of the show. Okay. We do love a bit of Colette Baron Reid. Oh, wow, Melinda, that's really awesome. So for those of you watching over on YouTube, cool. I had a dream the other night about me learning and feeling empathy, and I could really feel it in my heart space. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm very grateful to you and my Invisi team. Yeah, yeah, they were very, very clear about what they're requiring from you, which is nice. It's nice when they're so bloody clear, but then your team usually is, to be fair. Very clear. It's one of the reasons why I find them so fun to work with. They crack me up, actually. They're just like, blam, straight down. Which is really actually a beautiful sign of how connected you are with them. And I love that. So I'm interested to know, of those of you who are still watching, who of you have done inner child work, and have you done it only being guided by someone else, or have you done it by yourself? Have you explored being able to do your inner child work by yourself? I'm curious to know. Hi, Tony. Kia ora, love. Kia ora, kia ora. Funny thing, when I was in Uluru, I got to meet a beautiful lady from Tauranga. No, darling, not all of it. Not at all. I'm into my third reading. There's been laughter, there's been tears, there's been a little bit of everything. When the show's finished, Tony, and it's done its little processing thingy, highly recommend that you rewatch the start, and where I'm talking, I think it was after our weekly reading, and yes, it was, and I went on to talk about what's been going on with my back, and sort of took you on a little journey with some inner child work I did for myself this week. Melinda says, I have done a small amount, but I feel I need to do more, but I usually enlist help with it. Very cool. Very cool. I'm still doing readings, Tony. I think I've still got one from Christine to go. Crikey, I fell asleep a few times. Am I that boring these days? Oh dear. How rude. Oh dear. It's so funny that we go to am I that boring to instead of like, oh, am I that soothing to you? That you just fall asleep. All right. Let us have a look. Oof, these cards. Holy moly, they're blowing my head off. Oh, wow. Tamara, I was wondering too, and then I thought to myself, he's probably gone to sleep. That was my actual thought. So it's nice that Rick was missed. And Tamara says that she's done quite a bit, but only ever by herself. Cool. Yeah, I've done both. I think these days I have the confidence to just do it for myself. And when I was first learning how to do it, it was done with somebody else sort of guiding me through how to do inner child work. And it was during a time when I was learning how to be like, how to facilitate, how to ask questions, and all that sort of stuff. Because that can be really tough, learning how to be emotionally neutral when you're working with someone as a healer, and even more so when you're working with yourself. Because it's like, this is like the most raw and vulnerable and triggering parts of yourself that you're actually having to deal with. And it's like, oh my God. Like, whew. No wonder people sort of like, people who haven't done the inner work, they get really frightened off by that unspoken part of you, which is essentially your inner child, that has zero issue with being big and bold and yelling and screaming and just all of that energy, right? Your inner child is just like, boom. And our conscious self, our adult body, tries so hard to suppress that. And if you're anything like me, it just bubbles out my face. It bubbles out my energy. It's like, oh. And so, like, I'm very easy to read when shit's coming up for me. And even if I struggle to put words to it, it's like, oh, it's just, yeah, it's all there. And generally it's inner child stuff. It's myself throwing a big, huge fat tantrum about something. And I love that she has the freedom to be able to do that and bring it to my attention so that then we can work through it together. And I love that I get to do that. Melinda says, I think that's why I prefer to work with someone who can be neutral with the session. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. It can be very tricky. Tamara says, I learned how to do it during an intuitive healers course, and I now teach others how to do it for themselves. Cool. Very, very cool. Most excellent. All right, Tess. Let's have a look and see. Not that one. So what you picked out was the Shaman's Dream cards. These ones I've been loving. So, because they just hit differently, you know, and they don't always make sense at the time. And it's not until you start looking back on things that you go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So I think you guys know, I used this pack of cards at the start of the year when I was out camping. Well, not the start of the year, just at Christmas time when I was out camping. I pulled one card for every single month for the year. And I wrote down, you know, a bit of the blurb from the book, but I also wrote down my intuitive awareness about what all that was. And so far, it has been spot on every single month. And even up to the point of me meeting Rick, and getting together with him and, just all the stuff to do with that. That was all predicted back in December. I literally have little words there saying new relationship, question mark, question mark, question mark. So I'm just like, and then I completely forgot. Sorry about it. So yeah, you don't have this deck. This is good. This is good. So it's a very potent deck, and like I said, it's fucking interesting. So the first card that we've got for you is, I'll hold it there. There we go. This is Watches. So it's serendipity, the observer / witness, and transpersonal. Okay, I'll try and hold it steady while I read. When watches appear, it is an invitation to stop doing. Pause, get off the treadmill, and take a deep breath. Find the witness within, the one who can observe the fire and the fury happening around you, but is not caught in any of the drama. The time is right to step back. If you have a thought or opinion, keep it to yourself. If you have a feeling that requires to be expressed, do it in the shower. Do not engage with the action happening around you. Simply observe. Watches show up to direct your attention to the horizon, away from the anthill in front of you. Others might think you are simply doing nothing, but let them know that you are helping the sun to set in this evening sky. There are bigger things to attend to. You have spent such a long time trying to correct the course of events and the actions of others. Let it be for a short while as you become the observer rather than the doer. The watchers invite you to break free from the linear causal play, find coincidence to serendipity, and notice how the act of seeing the heart of the matter produces results. The things happen without you doing anything. Creation unfolds in its own mysterious way, requiring only a sacred witness. I love this. I love this for you. I get the sense that you are somebody who loves to be doing stuff, that being still is difficult for you. Just sitting back and watching is hard. And it's like, oh, I've got to fix that. I've got to fix that. I've got to do something. It's time to sit back and just let them. And so that is what this card is asking you to do. Okay, your team is asking you to stop doing everything for everybody else and just watch what they do. Watch how they function with each other and just take a breath. Take care of yourself for a little bit. Okay. And instead of being all bound up with I love the analogy of the anthill, right? And you watch all these ants going all over everything, and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, you're not observing beyond the anthill because you're so wrapped up in the drama of the anthill, you're not seeing the fact that there's a lion over there and it's about to get you. Not saying that there is a lion in your particular situation, but it's like just step back. Allow people to be their anthill selves, creating their own little dramas. It's okay. How interesting that you've received this message this week. I love it. I love it. I love it. Told you these cards are good, eh? Got them in a sale. I can't remember. I got them, this ones and the fairy ones and the sacred forest ones. At a time, maybe it was when, is it Hay House was having a sale or something like that? And maybe not Hay House. Oh, yes, it is Hay House, when they were having a sale. And I got those 3 decks. This one just spooked me. All right, your next card. I like this one too. I decked you. Did I really? I knocked you out. Magician's sword. Confidence in your magic. Nothing can stop you. The beauty you seek is sort of like the short message of this. When the magician's sword appears, you are called to cut the cords that bind you to old thought forms and beliefs, or to friends who are not true. With the power of the magician's sword, nothing can stop you, hurt you, or turn you away from the beauty you seek or the goal that you desire with all your heart. The sword is a tool, not a weapon, so make sure you wield it wisely for the greater good. Find the stuck places where you are kept tethered to a toxic person, a particular location, or a faulty thought or belief, and let the blade do its magic. You have a large endowment of magic available to you when you believe in miracles, but don't look to the heavens to grant you a wish. Look within. Use the magician's sword to cut through limiting beliefs, and remember that all beliefs are limiting, and focus your intention in order to create what you wish. You have all the tools you require for the task at hand. You only require to muster the wherewithal to deploy the resources you have. When the magician's sword appears, it is time to get moving. This is not a tool for contemplation, but gazing at the finely polished edge. It is an instrument for calling for decisive action, and remember, the sword is alive with a wisdom you can summon to help you find the best course of action. Do not hesitate, act. So, in standing back and observing, you're going to start seeing things from a different perspective and seeing what and who is actually there for your highest and best. And then using the magician's sword, you can choose whether they stay or whether they go. That's pretty cool, eh? And the same with your thoughts and your feelings and your opinions and your belief systems and your points of views and all that sort of stuff. If you step back and have a look, oh, well, hang on a minute. Why is that belief system coming up? Why is that thought coming up? And I know why is not a great word to use when you're sort of looking at processing and all that sort of stuff. But you can even say, for what reason is that all coming up? And again, we can use the magician's sword. We can use our other tools like our inner child work. We can do all that sort of stuff as well. But this is the invitation. These two together make a lot of sense, right? So definitely step back. It's a self-reflection and a reflection, a moment of observation for others. Self-reflection and observation time. Okay? So there might be somebody in your world who's creating a little bit of drama. Do you really wish to be a part of that? Do you really wish to have it taking your energy and making you feel like crap? I don't think so. Good old Hay House. Hey, it's Saturday. All right, let's see what your next card has to say. I love it. What I find really fascinating is the colors that you have coming through. Now, if I open this up, you'll be able to see that there are all the colors of the rainbow in here. Everything from red through to purple. Okay? The first two cards are very red-based cards. Your third card is also very red. So take note of that. Skybridge. Possibility for union, or what requires to be connected or disconnected. You stand before a seemingly unbreachable abyss, and there is no possibility of retreat. The path behind you is no longer a viable option. You have to act soon, though, or you run the risk of being stuck at the edge of the cliff. Life has brought you to this moment to offer you as yet undreamt of possibilities. But you must no longer postpone what you know to be inevitable. And yes, you are allowed to a breath or two before the leap. So take a bit of time to yourself. Get away for a day or two of contemplation, or even just a few minutes walk to clear your head. Muster your courage so that you may cross the sky bridge. Sky bridge appears when the moment is absolutely right for a quantum leap. Life begins when you are ready, even if you do not agree. Remember not to confuse your true state of readiness with your plans and preparation. Respond with a determined yes and let the universe take care of the details. You require only hold on to your positive affirmation, and the way will become obvious as you take flight and clear the abyss. So the interesting thing is that as I was reading this, I could feel the creation and the creativity bars going off, like creating life forms. And I'm just like, yes, this, my love, is to do with your business. This is to do with your career and what you're planning on doing. You've done so much of the groundwork. This is why these two cards have come up first, okay? Because these two cards are saying you've got to redirect your energy. You can't be dealing with this petty bullshit that's sitting over here that is distracting you and pulling your energy away from the true thing that you have been working on and is your passion. It's time to redirect all of that energy into the thing that is actually leading you forward. This other shit that's sitting over here, that's distracting you and pulling your energy, it's no good. It's the path of the past. It's time to move forward. Okay? So interesting though, they're all red cards. Really orange. Okay? And that just goes to show you how sometimes, like our base chakra, our sacral chakra, those two there, they have the positive and the negative aspects. Okay, and that's the same for anything we go through. Like the flower cards that we were working with before, they have the positive part and they have the challenges, right? So it's like just the stuff about being caught in the drama and having to just sort of observe it and then kind of go, let's get out of that. That's all like base energies, right? And it's that lower vibration. I'm not saying that our base chakra is necessarily lower vibration. I personally believe that they are all important, including the ones above, the ones below, and all the ones in between. They all have an important part to play in our life and our progression forward and all of that sort of stuff. So it's our very human nature to be able to work with these lovely energies of the base and the sacral. So just focus more on where you're passionate. Come back to your heart, come back to your feminine, and just work with that moving forward. Okay. Your next one, and it's funny because the next two are both of a similar color. Okay, so the ex is going through an emotionally unstable and has been having a negative impact on the kids. Have been trying not to feed the beast, more so empowering my kids on how to deal with it. Awesome. And I was so unwell last week. I had to stop and rest, and it showed me how my world can function and go on without me being there all the time. Wonderful. Gotta love a bio upgrade. Oh dear. And yeah, it's like the people at work, you know, my work, they can do without me for another week. It's interesting, isn't it? The next card that you've got, I get the next two are going to be like really uplifting for you. So this one, have a look at that. This makes me like, there's so many aspects and points of my body that are just going, they're all having a fucking little party in your honor. So let's get to reading. Sky writing is what this one says. The fates, that which we cannot change, and non-judgment. It is written in the sky that you have a destiny. You are being invited to explore certain aspects of life unique to you and you alone. That does not mean that your path will be easy, paved with gold and littered with diamonds. Nor does this predict that your journey will be treacherous. It is just your path, with parts that cannot be changed and must be radically accepted as they are. In this way, whatever you are faced with, every single aspect of your life is perfect in its imperfection, not good or bad, neither inflow nor blocked, nor this nor that. See your life as a series of opportunities rather than an obstacle course. Once you master the skill of non-judgment, you open the power of curiosity, unencumbered by the burdens of yesterday's fear, as you look ahead to the potential of the future. Yes, you still require to be brave. Right now, you are facing a critical moment in time with an opportunity to meet your fate, a choice point where you expand your influence and your capacity for abundance, love, and purposeful action. Now is the moment to leap into it, whether it be a heart connection, a call to creativity, or a new identity in your work or another area of life. With all your heart and soul, your success is surely written in the stars. In order to bring your destiny to fruition, you must jump into that adventure with both feet and do your part. Like I said, this card and the next one made me feel just like there's a party happening for you. And it's like, this is saying to you, yes. And this is what the Sky Bridge was about too. It's like, yes, it's time to jump, it's time to go, it's time to have faith in yourself and to know that this is absolutely the direction that you're supposed to be going. And those distractions, what you're saying about your ex, etc., like, that's kind of like those silly negatives or the silly belief systems or points of views that we've picked up from our parents because they picked it up from their parents, because they picked up from their parents. And it's like, why do I even believe that? That doesn't make sense. It's like, I remember a story I was told of this family, and they used to cut off the end of, I think it was a ham. They always used to cut off the last section of the ham. And when questioned, like when the daughter questioned, like the young daughter questioned her mother, why do you cut the end off the ham? And she said, oh, because my mum always cut the end off the ham. And then, you know, the bony bit that sticks out the end. And she said, but why did she cut the end off the ham? Couldn't it fit in the oven? And the mother said, well, I don't know, let's ask her. So next time they went to Grandma's house, they said, Grandma, why did you cut the end of the ham off before you baked it? And she said, oh, I don't know. My mother always used to cut the end of the ham off. And so luckily the great-grandmother was still around, and they asked the great-grandmother, and the great-grandmother said, well, our oven was too small. So that's why I used to cut the end off the ham. So it's like, what is it, those things, those silly little beliefs or ways that we do things that are still in play now, just because it's been passed down from generation to generation, right? It's like, well, is it even relevant now? Does it even matter now? No, it doesn't. So let it go. Use that magician's sword. Let it go. At the end of the day, I love that you are teaching your children how to work with those energies from dad. It's a valuable skill for them to learn. Also, come back to you and refocus on what is important for you. Because I know how much that must be fucking pissing you off, that he's being a dick. And it's like, that then brings up a whole bunch of energies, right? Because, or emotions around, oh my God, I chose this person. And like, we had fucking kids together and now he's being a fucking dick. Like, oh, stop it. And then it's like, but why did I choose that person? And, you know, which then brings up a lot of stuff around self. Okay. So, yeah, incredibly frustrating. And I think also that's part of why the conversation I had near the start of the show, where I was talking to my inner child, who was so angry and frustrated and disappointed about all of these relationships that haven't worked out, and blah, da, 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 da. You know, it's like, soothe her. So he no longer he's just one of the pebbles, one of the rocks in the river that you had to cross. He was a reason and a season. That's it. And once you take the significance away, he'll no longer really have anything to bounce off and trigger you or activate you. So that's pretty fucking cool, right? And I know that there has been, like, my second husband, who I'm still friends with to this day, he's still got a lot of habits that in the old days triggered the fuck out of me. Alcoholism, anger, unprocessed traumas, all sorts of shit. He's slowly, very slowly working through them. Not fast enough for me. Not by any way, shape, or form. He'll probably never process. I shouldn't say never. He may. But he probably will never ever process to the same depth that I have. And because I have done my work, I am at a place of neutrality with him. And I have my boundaries. And I just go, if he's messaging me and he's drunk and he's rambling, because you can tell the energy of it flows through a text message, I just don't respond. Easy. Doesn't worry me. I'm just like, oh, here we go. And that's about as much energy as I give it. So while we didn't have kids together, I do get like that level of frustration that can happen. And yes, the unhealed version of you chose him, because the unhealed version of you was slowly traversing that river, that rocky, wobbly river of life. And it's okay that he's not where you're at. It's fine. Your kids have the gift of you in their life. And the gift of you is helping them to heal and helping them to grow beyond wherever you were. And that's fucking cool. Like, here's another way to look at this. People like their father will come along in life. It might be a work colleague. It might be a boss. And with you being able to support them now to manage those kinds of energies in a safe and secure way where they feel empowered, that will help them so much moving forward into life. And that's so cool. That's so cool. You know, he may keep going backwards, he may not. He may just stay exactly where he is. And that's okay too. That's totally okay. They choose what they choose, right? Whatever their, perhaps that was part of his soul agreement when he came into this world. He was there to be at a certain point on the cycle with you, to do what you guys required to do to help you grow forward. And sometimes in our forward trajectory, it may look like the person's moving back, but it's actually just they're staying reasonably same and you're moving way quicker than they are. And that's cool. That's pretty awesome. So keep being awesome for your kids, but also your team is definitely telling you, focus back on your work stuff, on your creation of your business. This card just made me go, Will-o'-the-Wisp. Treasures hidden in the shadows, the great mystery and epiphany. Will-o'-the-Wisp hovers in her luminescent glory above the twilight moors of your life, whispering for you to step into the fog, into the mystery, the unknown. You may have been visited by her before, but though intrigued, you refused her invitation. It would be safer, you decided, to remain on the journey you know. While you always have a choice as to whether to follow her or not, you never know when you might encounter her again. In this sense, turning away has its own consequences. Why is the known so appealing? It's only when you wake up to its restrictions, its soft prison or golden cage, that you realize there must be more. Will-o'-the-Wisp has come to you once again to offer you magic, but you will have to sacrifice certainty in the pursuit of adventure, your comfort zone for the dangers of discovery, your well-trodden path for the detours that may very well lead you astray. Or will they? Can you accept that losing yourself will bring you closer to your true self? The profound shift of an epiphany can occur only when you risk the detour and enter the unknown. Now is the time to trust higher forces that lead you into this place, these worlds hidden at the threshold between what was and what will be. Here is where you will learn about your own unmasking, to unmask yourself, love what you discover, dark or light, and see it all as divine, and find a quiet, thrumming power awaiting you to channel it into the world for good. The treasure you find, filled with the wealth of love and kindness, true prosperity, is ripe to share with others. She is here for you now. Will you accept her invitation? A great bounty of goodness awaits you. Wow. So, the Will-o'-the-Wisp. Oh, gosh. You said he certainly taught you a lot about yourself. Yeah, they usually do. Those toughest relationships often do. And sacrifice certainty. Mm-hmm. 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 I remember when I picked up Ina Segal's book, and it was at a time when I was at the brink of being told that I was having precancerous cells on my cervix. When I bought that book, I saw in my head, and I said to the lady that I bought the book off, I feel like I'm standing at the edge of a cliff and I'm about to step off it. I don't know what into, but I feel like this book is going to be the thing that's going to help me. And I'm not only going to survive the fall, I'm going to thrive. Now, that was back, what am I now, 47? That was 20 years ago now. That's crazy for me to think about. But anyway, that was 20 years ago. I had no idea at that time that I was psychic, that I was a healer, that I was intuitive, that I was empathic, that I could talk to dead people. I had no idea about any of that at that time. I had no idea I would be moving to Australia. None at all. And yet I had that sense that I was going to be doing something pretty fucking phenomenal with this book, and I didn't know what it was. I get that same sense for you right now. Take the leap. Jump. Good night, Melinda. Have a beautiful new moon to you too. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm sure you'll catch the replay of the end of the show when you can. So I very, very much appreciate you being here, darling. You got imagination as your yummy card tomorrow. Your imagination smells good. Keep using it, because you just never know where you're going to end up. And is leading you up the sky bridge, towards the sky writing. Like, just there's so much goodness here for you. And don't let that other shit hold you back. Okay? Thank you so much for your very kind donation, Tamara. I'm incredibly grateful for you. You and the others are helping to keep the show running, and I'm so, so grateful. So grateful. Hope that helped. All right. Okay, Christine, hopefully you're still floating around. And then Tony, yours will be after Christine. Yes! Watch the space. Love it. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, tell you what, those energies are when they pop through on the cards, I'm just like, blow my freaking head off. So yeah, the Shaman's Dream Oracle. Absolutely freaking love it. It's Alberto Velodo and Colette Baron Reed is those two that have created that one. So yummy. It's a large collection. I think it might be one of the larger ones, like 80 something cards or something. So yeah, it's a good sized deck. Let me just double check. No, they're saying 64. But yeah, it feels like maybe it's just got quite thick card. But yeah, that's really good. Your team knows you require the encouragement, my love. I say, go to it. Get out there and do the thing. All right. Christine. She's got me a little pendulum question. Which one would you like to play with? Thank you. my gosh. That one? No. What are you playing with? No. This one. You cracker-lackers. Oh. Go back here. I may have a problem. Too many cards? That can be a problem. Oh dear. Okay. Please ask my mum/guides, should I fly to LA as to my dad's situation? Yes or no, or don't bother since I have enough on my plate. All right. So enough on your plate is not really relevant in this question. So please show me yes. Please show me no. Awesome. Thank you. So, Truth, what will it create if Christine flies to LA? Okay, Truth, come back to neutral, please. So that was a yes. So, thank you. Truth, what will it create in 1,000 years if Christine flies to LA? That's still a very strong yes. Truth. Now I'm just curious what it's going to say here because it's going around in circles, which is cool. Truth, what will Truth, does Christine have enough on her plate? It says yes. And Truth, is this relevant for her flying to LA? That's no. So what you have on your plate and the amount of it is not important for flying to LA. So for whatever reason you have to go to LA and why that's popped up, apparently that's a yes. Go. Thank you, Christine, for your lovely question. I appreciate you. I love the different aspects that you bring up, and being able to bring some pendulum work into the show. So I very much appreciate that. Thank you so much, Christine, for your donation. I appreciate you very much, and we will catch you soon. Too many cards. There's no such thing. I love pretty cards. Yes. I have had to be very mindful of cards coming into my collection. And I am very, very selective, especially if they've been pre-owned. I'm very, very selective. So there is 2 decks that I've had that have come from someone else. And I made sure that I very much cleansed them and, made sure that their energies were all good. And I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to have them, that's for sure. One of them was used a little, but not much. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, Tony, my love, my beautiful, beautiful wahine from New Zealand, from Aotearoa. Oh dear. I can bring out all the Māori words that I know, which isn't that many. Not these days. Interestingly, though, I come across New Zealand people every now and then here, and like in Australia, and I still know more Māori words than they do. And it's like, ooh, that's a big question. Whew. Okay, I'm going to actually just drop that off now. All right, so let's see what we've got. I'm going to do a mixture with you, my dear. I think. Okay, so let's start. Just double checking the others. What's this? Oh, Rick. Small hands can make dicks. Look big. Oh, dear, oh, dear. Are you saying that my hands are small? Oh, Rick, you're funny. Oh, Tony. Gotta love the Freudian slip in there. Mm. Okay, just gonna. I know you guys want to see what I'm doing, so it's only there. All right, so I have pulled some cards as well, but I'd like to see what the lava kite has to say about this. Okay, so please show me your yes. Please show me your no. Cool. So truth, what will it create if Tony moves out from where she is? Okay, that's actually going around in circles, so it's undecided. So let's expand it out. So truth, what will it create in 1,000 years if Tony moves out from where she is? It's still going around in circles. So again, that is undecided. So the question that I asked when I pulled the cards was, what do you require to know about the possibility of moving? Okay, so given that we've just done a pendulum and it's gone, it's going to be interesting to see what the cards come out with. Okay, so all right. So just having a quick look over these cards initially, and the message that I'm basically getting, I will go through them individually, is there is stuff that you're working through by being where you are. It's karmic shit. It's soul contracts that you're working through with certain people that are there. Intuitively, I'm getting it's not so much the residents, that it's stuff that you're working through with staff, and it's confronting for you. And because of that, you're having to deal with a lot of extra stress. So this makes sense as I'm looking at this for what you've just written. So I'm going to go through this and then I'll go back to reading what because I've just done a quick scan of what you've written. I'll come back to that in a moment. Okay. So keep in mind, when you came into this world, into this beautiful body that you have, this lovely meat sack that you're running through this life with, and before you even stepped into this body, there was some soul contracts, some certain things that you wish to experience. Sometimes it doesn't fucking make sense from where we sit as a human, because we know what these things feel like. You are familiar with Dolores Cannon's work, so you understand what I'm saying, okay? There are certain things that we asked to experience. Sometimes it's things like, I would really like to know what heartbreak feels like. I'm pretty sure that's something I asked for. Having zero comprehension of how horrible it feels to have heartbreak in your world. And so there'll be certain things that you are asking and have asked to experience. And I get a sense that they are the more harsher aspects of life. The beautiful thing is, much like the analogy of walking across the river, is every time you manage to move over one of those rocks or moving through those boulders, even if they're a bit wobbly or whatever, every time you master one of those steps, you're moving through your list of soul contracts and agreements that you have made with these people. Once it's complete, they will no longer be an issue for you. So you have a choice. You can either resist and react to the experience, or you can lean in and go, okay, what is this? What have I agreed to? where is the lesson here? Where is the learning? Where is the remembering? Okay. And that is sort of where this seems to be sitting at the moment. And this is part of why you moving to another facility won't change that, because you are still requiring to experience, not necessarily with the same people, but you are required to experience these particular sets of experiences, energies, emotions, frustrations, whatever it is for you. So it will keep coming through, but in different people until you've mastered it. It's like one of the things that I had to work through was narcissism. That was something that I came into this life to experience and to know how to manage and to not be swept up in the trauma of narcissism. And I had to also realize how to not incorporate it into my life in an unhealthy way. And to also realize the gift of narcissism. So I kept experiencing narcissism from birth right through until about, 5 years ago. So that's a long time. And so like the first 42 years of my life, in all sorts of different ways, shapes and forms. So it was from family, it was from friends, it was from work colleagues, it was from bosses and employees, it was from real estate agents, it was from all sorts of people, partners. It was like it was coming through in all sorts of ways until I got the fucking message. Okay, so I'm getting that. That's why the pendulum's like going, nope, it's just, it's going to keep fucking coming up. So whatever it is that you have agreed to experience to get to a point of neutrality about is going to keep coming up until you do it. Okay? With that in mind, I think that message is relevant for a lot of people. The first card that you've got is to lovingly speak your truth. Vulnerability is a strength. Okay? So, one of the things that we can do is when we are frustrated and angry and we feel wronged, is that we can get very, very defensive. And when we feel wronged, that means that we're going into judgment. We're going into judgment about them. We're going into judgment about ourselves and about maybe the interaction. It could be the choices that we've made or that they've made, blah, 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 blah. There's just a fuck ton of judgment in there. So when we drop back out of that judgment and come back to gratitude, vulnerability, and speaking lovingly, magic can happen there. And you can get to that place of neutrality again. It's hard. Believe me, it's fucking hard to do this, especially when you feel like you're in the right. But just remember that when you say, I'm in the right here, you're in a space of polarity. Right and wrong, good and bad. Okay? So come back to the lovingness, come back to the loving truth, and ask questions. You may not get the answers that you think you want, and that's okay. But it opens the pathway for them to also speak their loving truth and be vulnerable. And who knows what will come up? Okay? But it's also about speaking your truth from that loving space, not you're wrong and I'm right. Okay? People do shit for interesting reasons. This next card I find funny. It says, create family balance, the ties that bind also free. Now you might go, why does she think that that's funny? And the thing is that the family is not always our blood. So what if the people and the staff particularly, because that seems to be where the issues are mostly, the staff that are around you are like family. And sometimes what happens is that we have issues with family. And depending on how emotionally intelligent each of those people are, depends on if they are actually able to move through their issues and their problems in a conscious way. And sometimes when we have certain family members that are not able to be as emotionally intelligent as you, this can be very, very challenging, right? And I get the sense that I know from a working point of view that the staff keep their distance, right? That's their job. So they don't really feel like family, even though you see them all the time. And, you know, they're not encouraged to talk about their personal lives. And it's not encouraged to get too close to residents or clients. And it's just, it's an interesting space. This card here, though, is asking for you to start giving them the level of compassion and empathy that you would afford a family member. I might wreck. And this is going to help you to unbind yourself. The ties that bind also free. Because if you give them the level of compassion and empathy, you're going to be able to free yourself of your list of experiences of soul contracts. Okay? This is where it's binding you. The staff are bound to look after you. They're contractually bound, literally, in this human life. So therefore, they can also be the ones to free you. But you have to be the more consciously aware, emotionally intelligent one to create that for yourself. And that takes a fuck ton of patience on your part. Compassion, empathy. At this moment, I'm having an image of Jesus. All right? So think about how much Jesus was persecuted for trying to just share the magic of the universe. He wasn't talking about a particular religion. He wasn't talking about following Christianity or Judaism or Muslim. He wasn't talking about a particular faith. He was talking about universal energies, right? And that landed him on the cross to be killed. Not necessarily intentionally. He still had the love, the compassion for everyone. Night, tomorrow. Now is your turn. Your turn to create that level of magic in your world. Okay. Which leads us on to the next cup. Rediscover source. Come home and come alive. All right. So again, it's about coming home. This is why Jesus came up. Universe, universal energy, creator energy. Come home. Come home to unconditional love. Be unconditional love for yourself and for those around you. Be that. No matter what. This is your magic time. This is the time where you get to be that level of fucking just unbelievable, unfathomable levels of unconditional love. Like literally unconditional love is that. It is love with no boundaries. It's not conditional. This is your turn. This is your time to be that. And to be that not only with yourself, but those around you. This is part of the key to you knocking off quite a few of those contracts. Okay? Align with your ideal rhythms. Be one with your inner self. At the end of the day, all we are is love. At the end of the day, we each have the universe within us. I was listening to Convoluted Universes while I was in the bath. And they were talking about Jesus at one point. And you know how they were talking in a lot of religions, they talk about the second coming of Jesus. Well, here's the funny thing that they referred to in that book is that he's already here. The energy of Jesus is already here, but it's not in one person. It's not even in just a few people. It's in everybody. It is the energy of unconditional love and magic. So as you align with your true self, as you realign yourself with the level of unconditional love that you can truly be, that you were when you were the spark in your mother's womb, you will find peace. You will find your world around you changes. And the people around you will change. They won't understand what's going on at all. But as you complete each one of those things and you find the compassion, you find that unconditional love within you, each one of those things have been coming off. And you'll have no more reason to resist and react, to get angry, to feel in polarity, right and wrong, good and bad, blah, blah, blah. It'll all work out. Okay? Let's have a look at your yummy card. I've listened to not too many of her books. I have listened to Jesus and the Essenes. I love that. Conversations with Nostradamus, one or maybe two of those. Convoluted Universes, The Keepers of the Garden. I think that might be it. I think I've done 4 of her books so far. And they've all contributed different aspects of knowing to my general knowledge of the universe and what we are doing now. And it's really interesting because there's other authors that I have listened to over the years, including the Conversations with God, like all the 3 books of that. I listened to that, and Dolores Cannon's work and that work marry up beautifully. Then there was what were some of the other ones that I've listened to? I can't think. But yes, there are a lot of different authors or investigative people or intuitives or whatever. Even the Sophia Code. There were elements in there because she has Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene in the Sophia Code. And what she talks about in the Sophia Code absolutely matches up with Jesus and the Essenes and the information that is in there about Magdalene that pops up. And of course, Jesus and Magdalene pop up throughout some of her other works too. So yeah, it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And I'm like, if these completely unrelated people using totally different methods of getting their information can be saying the same thing, surely that has to count, you know? So I'm just like, So yeah, I highly recommend getting into some of those other ones as well. Dream is your yummy card, darling. So just what world would you like to create in the next 6 months? Even if you have to stay in the place that you're living in now, what would you like to create? And when you start really honing in the visualization on that, it's going to start creating it for you. You're going to be able to manifest that one. You're going to be able to actualize it. Okay? So start getting your vision board out. Start scribbling shit down, because that's going to help you a lot with a physical reminder of what you're working towards. Okay? I have also watched when people die and go home and then come back and tell their stories. Yes. Yes, exactly. Those near-death experiences, or what do they call them? NDEs. Yeah, near-death experiences. I think that's what they call them. Absolutely fascinating. So anyway, thank you so much, Tony, for your very kind donation. I'm incredibly grateful for you. And I hope that helps and that you find some peace within that message for you. So you keep coming back to your loving truth. Doesn't mean you have to be a doormat at all. But it's about having a wider picture of everything. Okay? I love you. Thank you. Peaceful harmony to you. Oh, there is so much good information just scattered throughout her books of all sorts of different topics. And I love that she does that. I do find, though, I can only listen to Dolores's books for like probably maybe 30 to 45 minutes. And then there's like just so much information that has come in and then it's downloading and I'm just like going, Okay, I have to integrate this first. Okay. Alrighty, cool. Thanks, Dolores. We'll let that settle. And then I'll do the next chunk. She's all good. All right. Awesome. That's all of our readings for tonight. Okay. So what I would love to do right now is I would love to do a bit of a meditation, a healing meditation. And this meditation is going to be it's in honor of Anzac Day. And it is going to be based around sending healing and unconditional love through not only the service people, because I have seen what PTSD does. I have seen what PTSD does to the family. So not only the service people, but the family, their partners, their children, their, daughter and son-in-laws, right through to the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren. It's a big thing. The service people themselves don't receive the healing that we can provide in general. It's not something that is into their world too much. They're getting a little bit more of it now, but it's very rare. And part of that is the conditioning of being in the military. It's not about listening to your intuition as such. It's not about listening to your body in that kind of a way. It's not about, it is about listening to it, but then overpowering it, overriding it. If you have a gut feeling like, oh shit, this isn't a good thing to do, you have to override that and listen to your superiors. So that kind of messes with the head quite a lot, So when it comes to them returning home and trying to integrate back into society, they come with a lot of trauma. And I have seen it from even a younger ex-army service woman. And she went through a hell of a lot of trauma. And she was only about 25. She managed to get out at that time. And she carries a lot with her. And she's much better now, but there was a lot of healing that she had to do, energetic healing. She's one of the lucky ones. So what I would like to do today with your assistance is we will together, and those listening in the future and doing this with us in the future can add your energies too. Because every time that this gets listened to, from now until whenever, it will continue to gift those energies to those service people and their families. So you don't have to do anything. You can just follow along. And if you feel certain tugs to go certain places or add extra energy, you can do that. And I appreciate it if you do. All right. First of all, we're going to take care of ourselves. Okay? So closing your eyes, taking a lovely big deep breath in, Just really coming into your body, relaxing those muscles, big belly breaths. And this time when you breathe in, bringing Mother Earth energy all the way up through your body, nourishing and nurturing your body as she comes all the way up. And as you breathe out, bring Father Sky energy all the way down. And Father Sky energy is that loving, nurturing, supportive, powerful, divine masculine energy flowing through your body, bringing balance. Bring Mother Earth energy all the way up with the unconditional love. Nourishing and nurturing and being super potent throughout your body as well. And as the beautiful divine masculine comes down, Father Sky energy comes all the way down, bringing gratitude all the way through your body for everything and everyone. Your body is now filled up with unconditional love in the divine feminine and gratitude with the divine masculine. It is nourishing and nurturing your cells and molecules. It's working with your inner children, your inner child, to gently heal any little niggles that are going on in your system right now. Every time we do that process, that's a part of the gift of the magic of it. Even if you only do that little bit on a daily basis, the breathing in, bringing Mother Earth energy up, breathing out, bringing Father Sky energy down, you are nourishing and nurturing and grounding yourself. Now we're going to expand out our awareness, in a big bubble up into the sky and down into the earth with you in the center of this bubble, expanding out your awareness out beyond the size of the planet, beyond the size of the solar system, beyond the size of the galaxies, and beyond the size of the universes. Taking a big deep breath and breathing out. And now you might be feeling a little bit of tension around your head. That's totally okay and very normal. It's saying, hey, I'm really fucking aware of everything right now. Take notice of that. When your awareness is expanded beyond your allowance. Right. Now focusing on your body once more, grabbing your sense of allowance, remembering that your allowance will take you from being at the effect of everything else and everyone else and everybody else's thoughts, feelings and emotions, and taking you out beyond that. So you can see from that beautiful space of observation. So now expanding out in a big bubble with you in the center, up into the sky, down into the earth, expanding out your allowance. Expanding out your allowance beyond the size of the planet. Beyond the size of the solar system. Beyond the size of the galaxies. Beyond the size of the universes. And now beyond your awareness. Taking a big deep breath in. And out. And just notice how your entire body relaxes, because now your allowance is greater than your awareness. You are now in the space of being able to be like that big old fluffy cloud, just observing that raging river and seeing it for exactly what it is. It's just energy. This is the same for your body. It's the same for other medical conditions. It's energy. And now with that beautiful unconditional love and the gratitude that is flowing through your body, I'd like you to now imagine it flowing out of your feet and out of your hands, and maybe even in a big, like a supernova blast from your body. Whatever way feels right for you and like it's going to contribute the most. Send that unconditional love and that gratitude out across the country. And every single person that it touches that has some link to the military services, whether it be Army, Air Force or Navy, send that unconditional love and gratitude up through every single cell and molecule of their body. If they do not wish to receive it, that is okay. Just put a little bubble of unconditional love and gratitude around them. And that's okay. They can receive it when they're ready. But you're gifting some to them anyway. And move on. Do this with 0 point of view of being received. Spread out your unconditional love and gratitude across the planet, through the oceans, underneath the ocean floor. For of course, we have the Navy that is sitting underneath the water in their little submarines, or big submarines as the case may be. So wherever you become aware of people in submarines, send it up through the submarines. Send it up through the Marines and the Navy. Again, you'll know which ones are ready to receive and which ones are not. Their higher selves will already have given you permission. They know what is coming. Stretching out across the rest of the countries, all the way up to the North Pole, around to the other side of the planet, and down to the South Pole. And all the way back round to yourself. And as your unconditional love and gratitude reaches back around to yourself, fill yourself back up again with your own unconditional love and gratitude. So you are also gifting and receiving to yourself. And everybody else who is also listening to this now and into the future, please give to each other. Receive the potency of that magic, that collective magic that we will be. And know in some way, shape or form, you have just contributed to every single family member of every single service person that is alive today. And with that, allow that unconditional love to be absorbed into Mother Earth. Allow the gratitude to absorb all the way through you, continuing the flow between you and Father Sky, and you and Mother Earth. Grounding you, steadying you into your body once more. And just feel how good it feels to know that you have just contributed to thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people, if not millions. Take a big deep breath in and out. Imagine that you're underneath that big, beautiful crystalline waterfall, and the waterfall is flowing all over and through your body in gratitude and unconditional love for you and the gift that you be. And now stepping out onto that big, beautiful, warm river rock. Feel the warmth of Mother Earth underneath your feet. Taking another big deep breath in, bringing Mother Earth and the unconditional love all the way up. Bringing Father Sky and the gratitude for everything and everyone all the way down. Bringing Mother Earth and the unconditional love all the way up. And finally, bringing Father Sky and the gratitude for everything and everyone all the way down. And keep up. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you. When you're ready, open your eyes, have a little drink of water. You may feel like having something a little bit salty now. It's very normal. Very normal when we do healing work on ourselves or with other people. Very normal to wish to have a bit of salty afterwards. I thank you for your time, for your magic, and for your assistance today. And I wish you the very, very best moving through this next week. Please know that you can tap into those beautiful energies we just had at any time. And I wonder what you will create with these lovely new moon energies coming up. So for this next few days to the week, I hope you do something tasty for yourself. I don't really mind what it is. Get out there and do something tasty. And until I see you next time, be bold, be brave, be you, my beautiful friends. I'll see you soon.